to the Matrix, and I want you to come with me. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave, Neo. Born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. For your mind. You have to see it for yourself.
People everywhere have discovered that there's a bit more to the symbols around them. An unseen force steering the world, leaving its mark every place it touches. But if bound to material and reason alone, the logical mind immediately sees symbolism's big flaw. Take these, for instance. The countless pictures of politicians and various other celebrities throwing up what appear to be satanic gang signs. Now, if you think these pictures are all coincidence, I want you to turn off this video and go watch TV. Of course, this begs the question, surely the elite have better ways of identifying themselves to each other? Strategically speaking, hidden in plain sight doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Why not lies in plain sight and leave the truth completely undocumented? Foolish, of course, but you can't own the world and be a bunch of fools, and you need more than cruelty to hijack the world. You need guidance. Their symbolism usually falls under one of two categories, predictive programming and hidden in plain sight. Predictive programming is a technique where people are exposed to a message that causes them to respond in a pre-programmed way to similar future events. Typically, there's a crisis, and that crisis, by the end of the movie, is resolved using certain means. When that event occurs in real life, the individual, although knowing this is real life as opposed to a movie, is inclined to respond similar to those who had been seen succeeding in the movie. You hear it all the time when somebody says, it's just like this movie or that movie, so it definitely has its effect. Then there's hidden in plain sight, the more mysterious of the two motives. Hidden in plain sight is more like taunting than a clever chess move. It involves putting symbols and messages out there, encrypted in such a way so that, if you're not looking for them, the meaning will fall below the threshold of your notice. The number of clues the Illuminati offer outsiders who know the hidden meaning of their symbols is needless, conspicuously needless. So, who stands to gain?
But here's another picture that's worth 1,000 words. It's a card from Steve Jackson's card game Illuminati, the game of conspiracy. The card's name is Unmasked, and the caption below reads, "There is a secret of our cabal that even you of the 12th Circle have not known until now." Take a look at some of the other cards in Steve Jackson's card game. This card game, whose final goal is world domination, was created by an admitted magician named Steve Jackson. In 1990, Steve Jackson's company was raided by the Secret Service, and 3 years later, he would create a website hosting company called Illuminati Online. In 1995, the card game was released, and later in 1999, George Bush's presidential campaign website was hosted by Steve Jackson's Illuminati Online. The game has hundreds of cards like this, and now that you have a taste of what those other cards must look like, ask yourself why Steve Jackson has a card for every person, method, technology, and organization the Illuminati have ever used, letting it all hang out with pyramids, all-seeing eyes, and 666 everywhere. And yet, this card means seemingly nothing, and yet claims to show one of their cabal's most deepest secrets. That's because it does, my friends. So much so that even in Steve Jackson's shameless card game, he remains vague, so that only those who should know the card's meaning do know the card's meaning.
From beginning to end, this deck reeks of insider info. The sheer outlandishness of some of the cards desensitizes those outside of the know, but a deeper look reveals that there's not a single card in the deck that hasn't happened, isn't happening, or won't happen. Most of the cards depict a sinister brand of humor mixed in with knowledge of a deep insider, but we can't rule out the paranormal in this case. Steve Jackson, the game's creator, dabbles in magic. As synchronicities go, the most puzzling involved the terrorist attack on 9/11. Now, statistically speaking, some of these have to be coincidences, but others violate the odds outright. Over and over again, 9/11 appeared in everything from movies to comic books. And what about the FBI's failed attempt in 1993 to bring down Tower 1? Why did none of the artists see that as the future? Why did they universally envision the top of the buildings being damaged rather than the bottom? Did they know the first attack would fail? Was it insider knowledge? Or was it something more? Surely the 9/11 inside job plan isn't as old as 1976. With symbols, the Illuminati piss on every tree they pass, so how could they conceal the plan for so long? And if they did conceal the plan for so long, why did they even bother bombing Tower 1 in 93 if they knew it would fail and the tower's eventual destruction involved damage to the top? In my opinion, these synchronicities stem from one of two sources.
There are two types of control. One you can see, touch, and taste: communism, fascism, dictatorship like apartheid in South Africa. You know that you're in a dictatorship. That has a finite life because when people know the situation they're in and they can see their controllers, then the desire for human freedom, it may take some time, but that desire will eventually overturn that control. The greatest form of control is dictatorship you cannot see, the prison without the bars, as I call it, with the facade of freedom and this farce called democracy, which is ludicrously connected to the word freedom when it is anything but. And this covert control leads people to sit in a prison cell thinking they're free because they can't see the bars, because they appear to be free, but appearance is all that it is.
Well, people constantly ask me, and we're going to go to break here in a minute, about Illuminati. They see Jay-Z, all these rappers doing, all these weird Illuminati symbols and things like that. I know folks are going to pause that now and say, I was making those. I'm making those to show people. That's how they do that online. But the point is, you've exposed them. Bottom line, what's your take on that?
I mean, to me, it's definitely not a joke, man. There's a lot of real stuff going on out here in this world. Secret societies are real. It's definitely very obvious, that they're at work and it's at play in the music industry, in the food industry, politics. Everywhere you turn is everywhere. You just got to read the signs, you know what I mean? The writing on the wall, basically, is all in front of your face, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, once people just learn about it and do a little research about it all, they'll be able to see, like, oh, wow, I understand what's going on, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. You've got the floor. Lay it out. Break it down. I mean, this reported letter, when you were set up and sent to prison for exercising your Second Amendment rights, I mean, did you write this letter? And because it's very poignant, and, I agree with much of it. So you got the floor.
Yeah. I wrote a lot of letters while I was in there, man. I was doing this thing for Vibe magazine, just writing letters from prison, just expressing myself and things I wanted to get off my chest, things that were on my mind, and I wanted to let people know. And I wanted to show them, even though I was inside, locked in a prison, I wanted to show them that I still had no fear in my heart, about speaking my mind and letting people know what time it is. There's no reason for me to fear, because it's really nothing. There's nothing they can do besides kill me, and I'm not afraid of that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think right now they at the point where they would take it that far. I think this plan that they got into effect, and it's been in effect for hundreds of years or whatever, I think it's so embedded in people's brains now. They got people so brainwashed in this world that they don't even really care anymore. You know what I mean? About people like Alex Jones, people like Prodigy. Like, they're like, go ahead and tell the people all you want. We got these people so brainwashed, there's nothing you guys can do about it. That's how they feel. You know what I'm saying? And when I say they, I mean, the power and the structures that's in place, that's there to control us. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, looking at it, well, it's twofold. 30, 40 years ago, if you talked about this, they would give you a fast-acting cancer. They would kill you. It's on record. Much of it's been declassified. But people still had courage and got the word out. And so because so many people spoke out, they've now flipped it and said, okay, we're growing the opium in Afghanistan. Okay, we're shipping the cocaine in. Okay, we're shipping the guns into Mexico to blame the Second Amendment. And so they've decided to just go with the revelation of the method instead, because they're desperate. But if we really try to shake people out of their trance, as you and others are doing across the board, we can beat them if we can get people out of the trance they're in.
Yeah, definitely. At the end of the day, I always say, like, God always wins at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Good always going to beat evil at the end of the day, man. No matter how bad it's looking, you know what I mean? No matter what's going on, you know what I mean? Good is always going to win. You know what I mean? But right now, you know what I mean? The devil definitely got the world in a headlock. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's definitely crazy. And it's at the point where they got it so far, like I said, they don't even care. They put it all in our face. You know what I mean? It's the information age. It's everywhere. It's all over the internet. What's going on? It's all in these books. It's in movies. It's in, it's all over the place. And they got people so brainwashed, you know what I mean, with all the, fashion and, jewelry, especially like especially like in the hip hop world, you know, in the hip hop community, in the urban communities where I come from, you know what I mean? They got us so brainwashed with fashion, jewelry, and sex and all this stuff. We don't even care to even think about what's going on. You know what I mean? A lot of the people that I'm around, like, I look at them sometimes, and all they're concerned about is what I just said, like the fashion, the jewelry, the sex, all the stuff that is materialistic and stuff that, like, is not going to do nothing for their soul or their life.
Well, you've had it all, and you know, it's not like I've had it all, but I mean, I've had a lot of success, gotten to meet most of the famous people in Hollywood at one time or another, and once you meet them and find out that it's nothing, it's not fulfilling. What is fulfilling is having truth and information and decency and honor. And but for folks that have never really had some form of notoriety or fame, which you've had much greater than I have, they can't understand it. They're always scrambling for it, reaching for it. Do you agree with that statement? And what can you say to young people and others that feel unfulfilled because they're not somebody making $10 million a year like a top rap star?
Man, I would say it's not all about that, man. Life is not about, you know, that chasing that dream. Life is about, you know what I mean, being happy. You know what I mean? It's about having, you know, a pure heart, pure soul, eating good, family. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Love. You know what I'm saying? Like your relationship with your spouse or whatever. You know, these are the things that life is about, raising your children properly, making sure that, you know, each generation gets better than the last one, you know, smarter and healthier than the last one, all of that. These are the things that life is about. It's not really about chasing all these crazy dreams, you know what I mean? Because, you know, even though people want, you know, people want success, you know, anybody wants to be successful, you know what I mean, in life and have some decent money where you could be comfortable and things like that. But, you know, some people really just take it too far and they get caught up in that whole money and success thing, you know what I mean?
Yes, I think it's a hierarchy of needs. Success is great as long as you don't compromise to get it, and as long as the success itself isn't the goal. Success in doing good, success in beautiful art, success in developing things, that's wonderful. The globalists, the controllers, create a false success and set up false icons for us so that we'll chase, basically, it's false idols.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what it is, you know what I mean? Yeah, man, it's bad, man. It's bad because, you know, I try to reach out and, you know, share the information that I know with a lot of people, you know what I mean? Just stuff that I've read over the years and learned about what's really going on, you know, with this government and what's really going on, you know, in this world and everything, and how we should really be living and taking care of our families and our life. And I try to share a lot of the information with, you know, my friends, my peers, or whatever that I grew up with, or that I'm around a lot. And I had to learn the hard way that, you know, you can't just push information on people. You know what I mean? They gotta want to know it. You know what I mean? They gotta want to change their life.
They've got to open the door.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And it's sad that it's like that, but really that's how it is, man. You know, I know a lot of people now that I see, they like, yo, Prodigy, man, what can I do? Like, I was getting a lot of letters while I was in prison, right? And people write me and say, yo, Prodigy, what can I do, man? I'm trying to share the information with my homeboys and my friends, and they're not listening, they don't care, And I would write them back, like, listen, they got to want their information, man. You know, they got to want that change in their life, man. You can't just make people, you know what I mean, change. That's something that's a phenomenon that has to happen on its own.
This is secret government that worship an owl. They practice witchcraft to harness their power. Pedophiles rape little kids for energy. It's satanic ritual. WTC, R.I.P. They lit the Pentagon on fire. That's lighting the pentagram on fire.
One thing I always wanted to know, man, is what woke you up to the New World Order, these globalist elites and eugenicists?
The main thing that woke me up to it was a writer named Dr. York, a spiritual teacher from Brooklyn. He had a whole community over in Bushwick, on Bushwick Avenue, called the Answer Allah community. They were like real heavy into like just studying the origins of religions, of cultures, politics, the origins of everything. And that's how you really get to the bottom of things, when you study the origins of it. So that's how I learned reading his books, and it all came from him.
Ron Paul just came out in a new CNN poll that he has the best chance to beat Barack Obama. How do you feel about that in the upcoming 2012 elections?
See, I love Ron Paul, man. I love what he represents. I read his books while I was locked up, and the Fed and all that. Yeah, man, I would like to see that happen, because I would like to see him shake things up a little bit. You know what I mean? I like that type of shit, where, shake these people up a little something. Man. We need that out here.
He's talking about ending the Federal Reserve, getting rid of the private bankers, and it's some pretty cool stuff that he's talking about, and he has a chance to win.
But let's be clear, that's not happening. They're not gonna let him win. You know what I mean? I wish him the most success. I hope he does win. You know what I'm saying? To tell you the truth, but they're not gonna let that man win. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just whatever they got planned and all this shit that they got planned for us. That's how it's going down. Only God gonna stop this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
What do you think about the propaganda with Osama bin Laden being captured and murdered?
Oh man, I've been working so hard since I've been home. I really haven't been paying too much attention to it, but I can tell you from my years of studying that I don't believe nothing that they say. Like, he probably alive chilling, you know what I mean?
They don't believe their own story. They kept changing it. They said he was fighting back and shooting back and had a wife as his god, and then they changed the whole story up, said he was harmless.
I mean, if you ask me, and my best opinion would be to say that he's alive still. That's a bunch of bullshit.
He's a CIA operative as well.
Yeah, I don't think he's dead. Yeah.
What do you think about 9/11 Truth and all the people who have been fighting for a new investigation? Do you think this is going to stop them?
That what's going to stop them for the investigation, because
bin Laden came
dead?
Yeah.
No, I don't think that shouldn't stop people from trying to find out the truth about something. They should still try to find out the truth about, is he really dead or not? All that. I had a family member that died in that building that day. My cousin, died in there. And, to me, it's just mass murder, like a ritualistic murder that happened that day. You know what I mean? They burnt, the pentagram, lighting the Pentagon on fire. You know what I mean? And they killed thousands of people all at one time. To me, that's a ritualistic murder. You know what I'm saying?
What's the biggest smoking gun you think out of 9/11 that shows that we need a new investigation?
The explosions. All the explosions that there was bombs in there. You could see them going off on each floor. You know what I'm saying? I learned that from watching Loose Change. Like, that was one of the illest documentaries I ever seen. And just the fact that that level of fire and heat and from the jet fuel can't melt steel. That can't melt that kind of steel. Like, you got actual building engineers and steel people telling you that can't happen.
Yeah, there's over 1,000 of them.
Yeah, like
engineers.
Like, that can't happen.
Yeah,
you got fire department people that telling you that bombs was going off that day while they were in the building.
Yeah, many of them my friends who came out and said the government's lying to you. I don't know if you know William Rodriguez. He's a janitor that worked in there. He heard bombs going off in the building before the planes even hit the building.
Yeah, I mean, there was bombs going off. One of the fireman dudes that said he witnessed bombs going off or whatever, he was in the hospital. When he got released from the hospital, the motherfucker, I'm reading the paper, they said that he shot himself 8 times in the head or the chest or some crazy shit and committed suicide. That don't make any sense. Like, how do you shoot yourself 8 times? Anywhere, if it's your head or your chest, how do you shoot yourself 8 times and commit suicide?
Same thing with Gary Webb. He uncovered the drug smuggling into the United States with cocaine and Iran-Contras. But one thing, I don't like talking about a lot of negative stuff. One thing I deal with personally is solutions. What can we do to get out of this problem, get out of this control, this slave system, this slave ship that we're all on right now?
Yeah, I think the only thing that we could do is, learn so we can know what's going, be aware of what's happening. That's number one. Be aware, because you don't want to walk around like a dumbass. You don't know what the fuck is going on in your own fucking backyard. You don't even know what the fuck is going on in your own life, in your house. So be aware of what the fuck is happening in this world, number one. Number two, share that with your family first, with your family, you know what I mean? Try to make sense out of it, and help your children to raise them right, you know what I mean? By using that information that you learn, to raise them correctly, in a positive way and in a good way. And then the next step would be to, if possible, try to share the information with other people. But usually that's not possible. Like, other people really don't, that's a touchy issue right there, where you try to share information with other people and try to, get them to learn. A lot of people are like, well, that's too much for me. I don't want to know all that. You know what I mean? Like, you bugging. You into that? Yeah, you into that science fiction shit. Like, that's what.
Your whole value system when you do that.
Exactly. So it's not for everybody. So you got, try to share it with those that you think will be interested in that. But other than that, back off. You know what I mean? Don't spread that information too much with people, because they're gonna start looking at you like you crazy, and it's gonna turn into a big mess. Like, so. That's what I would say. Start with yourself. Be aware. Pass that down to your family as much as possible, and the people that's around, your friends, as much as possible. And that's it. That's all you can do.
Yeah, my biggest thing is not be afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah, because God is going to come down and handle that. You know what I'm saying? God is here. He ain't going to come down, but God is here. And trust me, evil never wins in the end. You know what I mean? God always wins in the end. So, that's all we could do is, pray for the best, live a positive life, healthy life, and just, do what you can do, to make it through. But it's really up to God at the end of the day, because these motherfuckers are so powerful. There's nothing you can really do. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I told. I actually saw Henry Kissinger 2 weeks ago, and I told him, no matter what happens, you're gonna have to be judged by God, and your soul's gonna be hurting eternally if you don't repent and ask for forgiveness.
Because picking stockpiling guns, and what the fuck you gonna do? They're gonna drop bombs on your fucking shit. You know what I'm saying? They got the Air Force. Like, how you gonna fight these people? You can't win that war.
You can't fight hatred over hatred.
Yeah, you can't. There's no winning that war. You know what I'm saying? So.
An eye for an eye makes the world blind.
Yeah, exactly.
I think one way we could get out of it is we move out of it. Yeah. We stop participating and stop reacting and start acting towards the right way. And that's why. That's
what comes with it comes along with being aware of things. You know what I mean? So try to take yourself out of certain things that you learn that's not good. You know what I mean? Don't participate in that, because now you're aware of that. You know what I'm saying? That's not where you belong.
Be fooled.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
Only the most exceptional people become aware of the Matrix. Those that learn it exists must possess a rare degree of intuition, sensitivity, and a questioning nature.
Signal is stable. This frequency will continue to remain open.
However, very rarely, some gain this wisdom through wholly different means. This man is one of those few.
Gentlemen, please take your marks.
wake up. Do not let him wake up.
I'll tell you something. There's nothing quite like cherry pie baked by my Aunt Daisy. She always bakes me one when I come visit. Look forward to it, actually. It may sound like I'm bragging, but it's really the best cherry pie in the whole world. She was a bit of an eccentric, though. She didn't really get along with my mom, but I always loved her. She taught me so many things. We'd go to Broadway musicals, to the movies. Now they call her the queen of mystery literature. Lives in an elegant villa in the south of France. But when I go visit, she still bakes me her cherry pie. Something about biting into it, you know? Just for like that brief moment, tasting perfection. Like leaving your body or something. And then she says, anyone can write a novel, but no one can be
An interesting case, but nothing to be concerned about. His memory of the race was expunged with no residual effects. He will never run again. He will never walk again, for that matter. We'll continue monitoring him for a while, but anticipate no problems. A record that will live on in people's memories for years to come. What more could anyone ask for?
Did you say something?
Sit down.
Free.
Sit down.